if we don't want it, the next time we can say no.
I'd like to call the May 28th board meeting to order. Roll call.
Mrs. Nazario.
Here.
Mr. Ferguson.
Here.
Dr. Ballard.
Here.
Mrs. Washington.
Here.
Mr. Sturgill.
Here.
The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Hawthorne. Mr. Stone.
Yes, Ms. Toy Shorts is here to represent her school and introduce us to her wonderful students. So Ms. Shorts, come on up to the mic. And it is with great pleasure that I get to reintroduce our community to Ms. Shorts, who's done an extraordinary job in her first year in charge of the school. It's always great to see excellence take on a challenge. And just real quick for the community, you might not like me sharing this, but I'm going to share it anyway. You were an excellent AP. You were a fantastic teacher, and I know along the way, there were questions about, all right, do I take this next step? Do I take this next step? I just want to say publicly, I appreciate you taking at risk of leading, and I want to commend you on the admirable job that you've been doing in year one, and the best is still yet to come. So thank you for being the leader that you are, caring for kids first, taking care of your staff, and just being a great agent for change.
Thank you. So really quick, I was at Hawthorne for about 7-8 years. I taught first grade and second grade. The fifth graders were actually my COVID group, so I had them online. So I left for 2 years to be an AP at Garfield, and I got to come back to Hawthorne because that's my family. But I really want to quickly say that not only am I an educator in Lorain, I'm a parent of Lorain students. Lorain is not my district. My students are open enrolled. But Lorain is a great place to be, and I really want you guys to really push that to other community members. Lorain has so much to offer, whether your student is artistic. They have art, draw, they have design, they have dance, they have so much. If your student is very much into hands-on, they have robotics. My son did robotics. Academically, they have so much. Sports, my daughter, she plays volleyball for Lorain. She'll be playing volleyball and softball next year. She'll be at the high school. But Lorain is a great, great place to be. So with no further ado, I want to introduce my two students, which is Amari Williams and Karina Tillman. They'll come up and do the pledge and speak a little bit about our school. You got it, girls.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, my box too big.
Hi, my name is Karina Tillman, and I'm from Hawthorne.
Hi, my name is Amari Williams, and I'm from Hawthorne Elementary. Today we are here to represent Hawthorne Elementary, and we are going to be talking about all our after-school programs and basketball.
The first thing I want to talk about is Leadership Club. The first thing I want to say is that once I first joined, I knew I was going to be a leader.
Leadership is it's like a fun after school activity to do. You make new friends. You could do anything you want really, and the teachers is actually real nice. Miss Sharif, she is a nice teacher, and yeah.
The next thing we want to talk to you guys about is basketball club. I think we've been doing basketball since 4th grade, I believe, and now we know a lot more about basketball club and stuff.
And basketball club, it's sometimes it's like not really fun, but like it's it's good. Like I don't know what to say.
It's a fun after school program to learn how to do basketball, how to dribble, how to actually.
You
Play
learn
basketball.
you learn new rules and stuff from it.
The next thing we want to say is the El Centro after school program.
El Centro is an after-school program and a summer program where, like, you could go there, you do your homework, you do activities, you, like, I don't know if it's like a band or anything, but, like, people, they give you, like, instruments, so you could just play them and learn new things about new instruments. And the summer program is fun. They have a building on the south side, and you get to go swimming every Fridays. It's like they have a camp. So, like, you could go to the camp and everything.
In Leadership Club, we made these coasters and magnets that we made for all you guys. And we just want to pass them out.
Oh, very cool.
Cool.
Nice.
Well done. Well done.
That was awesome.
All right.
No
Great.
cheat
I
sheets,
was
no
thinking
notes,
of
just
doing
straight from the heart. Thank you very
you.
much. Representing Hawthorne and Lorain schools with confidence and good stuff.
Where I start.
Great job. Thank you all.
You started Hawthorne?
I know, the old one. These are cool.
Madam President, Dr. Graham, may I have a?
Please,
Yes, of
please.
course.
I was in a conversation
This is awesome. Thank you very
not
much.
too long ago today about the power of connections, the personal power of connections, and being disconnected from our internet-based devices. And our students here just spoke very proudly about being able to connect with their friends, being able to connect with their teachers, giving of their time to learn. And one of the most important things I think I heard them say, it wasn't always fun what they were learning, right? So that means it was challenging is what I heard. You know, as a basketball coach, I know I always tried to push my athletes and challenge them. And sometimes that didn't always come across as the most fun. But man, those are the times that we connected the most. And some of the things that we need to talk about as a community is disconnecting from the screens and connecting more as humans. And the more that we can provide our students with opportunities to engage authentically and not even necessarily hover. While they said there were some adult supervision, they talked more about what they were doing together as young people. And that's where the next great artist, the next great genius can blossom and grow and create. It's not always us as adults that need to tell them what to do. We just have to provide them the space. So I want to thank Hawthorne for representing and giving us that reminder that, hey, it's okay to connect in a personal way, and we don't always have to be connected to our screens in order to do so.
Excellent. Yep. I introduce Mr. Ross May here, and we went because of some financial troubles we had about 13, 14 years ago. We completely eliminated the arts. And we heard loud and clear from our community, you want art. We want to dance. We want visual arts, performing arts. So with the board, total board support, we put together a program that I think we're very proud of. And we're going to showcase some of our students tonight who are already leading the pack. So, Mr. May, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, just briefly, and I'll invite, we've got some of the teachers up. We'll invite you up to, and students to celebrate. So at our last board meeting, we had just been notified that day that we had 21 of 50 award winners at the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport Stephanie Tubb Jones Art Gallery. And just, that is an incredible accomplishment. Millions of people come through and see that art every single year. It's an open competition to schools in Northern Ohio. We have 21 of the 50 pieces, which I think is just staggering when you think about that. Last week at the Lorain County Art Show, those awards were announced, and we have 5 of the 12 People's Choice Awards. And again, it's open to all schools in Lorain County. And we also got an Excellence Award as well. So for all those students and families that are here tonight, we want to thank you and celebrate you. And I think, Ms. Glennies, do you have, I think, a short presentation or speech you want to give, and then we'll call students up?
A little bit from the Cleveland Hopkins Airport brochure.
Okay, perfect.
Got slides.
Okay, this is my first year with the Cleveland Hopkins Airport, and I know Longfellow and Southview have been in, and so I wanted to join. I was like eager to join, and then it was very hard to join too. We went back and forth, and submitting photos was actually more difficult than I thought. So the students, some of them are here today. On the screen, you're going to see artwork. They have pictures. We have a few students here that had their pictures taken with their certificates, and we have the art on the slideshow. But this is from, sorry, I got to use my readers. Age has crept up on me. So I forgot about the board meeting today, so one of my students eagerly told me about it, so I'm like, oh gosh, I didn't dress up, sorry.
Thanks for the reminder.
I forgot, so I'm like,
look
okay, I
great.
better
Here
get
you
that
go.
notice out there too, clever. So that was that. So it's yesterday or Thursday, we went to the Cleveland Hopkins Airport in the Stephanie Tubbs Jones art, and they had a beautiful reception for us, food and all, and they gave everybody a certificate for their participation. Again, 21 students were out of 50 or Lorain City schools, 12 from GJW, 9 from Longfellow. So the Cleveland Hopkins Airport Artists Art Show, the winners were selected by a jury, a panel, and they were juried. So first we judge them, then we send them off, and there's a panel of artists, I guess, that they choose, and they get to select. And we started this in March, and the selection wasn't made until probably the end of April, and we were, after spring break, we were waiting and waiting. So congratulations to those that won. They were selected to be in the Youth Art Gallery at the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. It's going to be on display now through April 30th, 2025. The theme of this year's art contest was We Care, Let's Save Our Planet. The Cleveland Hopkins International Airport Art Program is dedicated to showcasing high-quality, regionally produced original artworks that interprets and embodies the rich and diverse cultural heritage of Northeast Ohio. The mission of the Youth Art Program is to empower Northeast Ohio youth to share and express their artistic talent and celebrate them by showcasing them in the exhibit that welcomes thousands of visitors daily. And they mentioned that 30,000 people go through our airport in a day, which is more than Progressive Field, and they mentioned and the Cavs Stadium too, which was pretty cool. The art gallery changes annually, and the youth are invited to submit their artwork to review and approval by an artist review panel. Each approved art that was submitted is exhibited. And the youth art gallery, based on the exhibition calendar approved, submittals are also featured on the airport's website at theclevelandairport.com. This year's theme was Let's Save Our Planet, advocating Earth Day. This unique exhibit showcases young artists' passion for our planet through captivating artwork that tell powerful stories of conservation and sustainability. This environmental-inspired art competition challenged Northeast Ohio students to submit artwork to emphasize the urgent need to care for our planet. Hundreds of images were received. The lady told me 600 were, she said 600, and 50 were selected.
And we had 21.
Yep.
And we have 21. The art creations urged viewers to reflect on their connection with nature, inspiring them to explore new perspectives in environmental stewardship. And then please go to the airport Like right when you walk in from like the smart car garage, you're going down. It's like the lower. It takes you to a lower level, but if you go up to the far right stairs, it'll take you to the baggage claim area. And where baggage claim is, there's the women's restroom and the men's restroom, and it's all right there. So just want to congratulate the students. I have a few students here, and so do you. Do you want us to call them up now?
Yeah, yes, and we've got certificates for them that we've got, for those who aren't, we've got, you can use
Okay.
them as well.
Okay, Peyton, do you want to come up? Peyton Cruz. And we have Allison Sislowski. Any more TJWs?
Please stay up here, girls.
And Allison?
One more?
See you
Emma.
work.
You reminded me. Come on up. Emma Lynn. And Jacqueline, do you want to get yours? Damari and
And Maya Watkins. Maya Watkins.
That's correct.
All right, congratulations. Congratulations. And what's your name?
Maya Watley.
Well spoken.
Congratulations. All right, and then Jacob, do you want to speak just briefly about the Lorain County Art Show as well?
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank the administration for your unwavering support and revitalization of the art in the system. Like the superintendent said, the art program had been down for over a decade. And when they come on, they told us, hey, we're going to take care of you guys. We're going to revitalize the art. And their unwavering commitment to the creativity of our kids is awesome. And when I stand here, if I start to enumerate the effects, the positive effects of creativity, of arts, on the students, on our schools, we're not going to live here. It's very extensive. And so I'll first have to thank the administration, especially Mr. Ross, for being there for us all the time. Our kids have been really, really competitive and very creative when it comes to arts. It looks as if, like my colleague said, whenever we are entered into regional competition or art show, we seem to be winning awards left and right. You know, it shows how creative our kids are and how committed we are to our kids as well. So Lorain County Education, they have this annual exhibition that takes place at the Library, and we tend to submit our kids' work. They have it elementary and middle school, right? High school is not part of it. And in that program, when we entered the kids this year, we had wonderful results. They are also judged by external judges, and people who go through the exhibition get to vote on their choice of work. And Lorain City School, we had the second choice of all, the second and third of all the program. We had two excellence art show, I think so. Yep. So on this, I would like to call Damari, come up here. I also like to call Zoe. Come up here. And Lorenzo, come on up here. I don't think Lila was able to make it, so probably I'll take hers. Lila's not here. So thank you very much, and once again, thanks for administration for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then there's just one more thing that happened in the last 2 weeks with visual art. The Cleveland Browns reached out and asked if we might be interested in decorating a couple of footballs as well. And I don't know, Ms. Murray, do you want to speak to that at all? Or
no, we were just really fortunate that all the other school districts in Northeast Ohio that were asked to paint the 2 footballs were high schools. And Mr. Sturgill reached out to me, and we had 2 middle school students paint the footballs for the banquet. And the reception from the woman that was in charge of it was amazing. She could not believe that 12 and 13-year-olds painted these footballs.
yeah, it's just been, the last 2 weeks have been just unprecedented with the amount of recognition that our students in visual art have received. It's really amazing. So to the board, thank you guys for all your support. We have an incredibly talented team of staff who are doing just brilliant work with our kids in visual art, and they are incredibly talented, and what they're producing is, I think, just really remarkable. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you for your leadership.
Continue to stand. Hawthorne students, please come back up. Bring whoever you came with, guests, family, siblings. Get a big old picture.
You know what? I'll go. You know what? Send me a text, and I do have a picture of them actually. Enjoy the reception. Pretty cool.
Teachers, come up here. And for those of you that don't go to a lot of board meetings, this is pretty awesome to watch. Just a whole lot of smiling faces. Spend a night clapping for kids. So thank you for all that. I often say that one of the greatest parts about my job and how blessed I am to cheer for kids for a living. I do it all day and all night, but for those of you who don't understand, the fun part of the board meeting is pretty much over. So if you wanted to make a run for it, we will not judge you. So, yeah.
They were well coached. They're in the cars already.
Magnets.
Do some selfies.
You make a trade?
You want to trade?
I like. You got something?
Yeah, Miss Penny said everybody has to get at least one.
I can share a coaster.
There's 2 walls.
Share one.
I don't know if they want to be separated.
They don't. Mr. and Mrs. Are sodas.
Oh, I thought they were for the kids.
Get enough.
Okay. Yeah. No, for you.
Graham must have gave his speech about you can leave now.
He did.
Yeah, she had some
He
technology
should
issues.
wait until after the first hearing of the public and then give it, so we can at least have someone.
Okay. Everybody good? If we can have a motion to suspend the order.
So
Can I-
moved.
Support. Roll call?
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
And can I have a motion to go into an executive session for A2 and G?
So moved.
Support.
Roll call?
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
We'll go down to the ROTC room.
Okay.
Can we have a motion to come out of executive session?
So support.
Roll call?
Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mrs. Washington?
Yes. First hearing on the public.
Hi, my name. You know what, you guys, can you hear me?
Yes. It's actually
They
more for the
can't
TV
hear,
though, so
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you can take it off of there if you want to just take it off.
Like you're doing
All right.
karaoke.
There you go.
My name is Sandra Peliquin. I live at 42385 Griswold Road, Elyria, Ohio. And I just came to speak on behalf of my colleague, Joyce Mondak. I just wanted to share my experience working with her. The first time was COVID, shut down, and it was just phenomenal because I'm not a science person. And I was able to understand the content, learning how to teach online. Her slides were awesome. Currently, she has one of my students who was struggling. My students don't have a lot of English. Worked with him. He was coming late and just not asking questions. He's currently receiving a B. So, you know, she worked with him and did differentiation. And that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Can we approve the minutes from the May 28th meeting? And we reserve the right to. I'm sorry? Oh, the May 13th meeting, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Washington?
Yes.
Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Any old business? Other than.
If you want, yep, I don't have paperwork.
Oh, are you gonna read it? Do you want to just start with the summary?
Mhm.
What's going on?
Yep.
This? On the ballots? Is that what you're looking for?
Nope, let's just start the conversation. We've had many conversations about our finances over recent meetings, actually over the last few years. We put up a levy in, I think it was 2020, give or take, and we were saved by increased enrollment and then ESSER funds that came as a result of COVID. We've been giving the board updates in the community updates for the past couple of years and predicting exactly where we're landing in terms of our 5-year forecast, which puts us in a pretty rough spot. We've had Mary Mays and Tony DeMacchia share in public about the condition of our facilities. And right now, our buildings are no longer new. Some of our buildings are 20 years old. And what happens as a result are things start to go, just like they do in any business or any home. So some of the big ticket items that we've been sharing on board meetings with folks, our roofs are starting to go, so they start to leak. They need replaced. We use a lot of ESSER funds to fix those throughout the course of the past few years. And again, ESSER funds are the funds that the state provided for us to help us get through COVID. We've also talked about the fact that we've got some buildings that are kind of splitting. Is that the right word for it? We've got some foundational issues that need some repair. Chillers start to go about now. So the estimate was about $5 million a year for the next 5 years, and then less than that moving forward, but to work for us to get our buildings up to where they need to be. And our kids deserve nice places to learn. And we don't have fancy schools, but we have solid, well-constructed, healthy learning environments, and we need to maintain those. We also have been taking all of our money that we spend on facilities, buildings, grounds, and facilities, out of our general fund. And we need we've never had a PI levy, a permanent improvement levy, and I'm recommending to the board that we have a discussion to get that. Permanent improvement levies can be used primarily for structures, in essence, anything that lasts more than 5 years. But we're in a place now where if we don't start to take care of what we have, it will be, I think to quote or to paraphrase Bill Sturgill, it's time we start taking care of our buildings. We've not let things go, but now is the time when the big ticket items come across our desk. So I'd like to propose to the board that we have a discussion on placing a PI levy on the ballot for this November.
So what we would, tonight is, we are going to
investigate further exactly what millage provides what dollar amount. So we will get that from our county auditor. And I apologize for my voice. I've not had a voice for about a month now, so I hope I'm coming across clear enough. So the purpose of the conversation tonight would be to discuss the duration of the levy and roughly what dollar amounts that the millage amounts the board wants to consider before moving forward. And in my mind, and we've uncovered something recently, which is why this has taken a little bit of time, we have the bond issue that went on in 2003 or 4, whatever it was, but it was supposed to roll off this year. And for whatever reason, the county refinanced it, and I'm not challenging the county, I just can't speak for the county, refinanced that loan so it actually has one more year. But logically, what I wanted to recommend was something along the lines of, since that money rolls off at the end of this year, then we could ask for the same the same dollar amount, and it would not cost our community members any additional money. The bond issue rolls off, and now that same money that went toward building our buildings goes towards maintaining our buildings. So it would be, in essence, not a new tax. However, because it was refinanced, we have one more year to pay on that. But the millage amounts that I would recommend would be in that general vicinity. And right now, that millage amount is 4.97 mils. Is that correct to you?
That's correct, with the current bond and with
The current bond issue, with the bond
classroom
issue.
facilities millage falling
Yeah,
off.
the two pieces there.
Yep.
What people need to realize
Whatever they
is,
want, but yeah, that's what I thought.
when they started this in 2001, okay, so this is 2024. What time we had our first building built, okay, we have a building that's 20 years old now, okay, and you need to start maintaining a building that's 20, you know, I mean.
It's not just a building,
we
it's a
started a
roof
long
that's
time
20
ago.
years old and.
But,
and-
I mean, the period that it took 15 years to get toward the end of our building, you know, end of our building phase. So that's why we have buildings now that are actually, in some could consider almost at their half-life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there is maintenance that's gonna come. I mean, there's roofs, especially flat roofs. I mean, everybody knows that you have problems with those, but just general maintenance things. So, yeah, I can see why we need and we've never had a permanent improvement levy. I mean, I've been in Lorain for a long time. I don't ever remember having one. Do you, Jay?
No, that's what you cut out when you have to save money, so that you're not taking stuff away from kids, you're taking stuff away from facilities. And that's just traditionally been the way it's gone.
I just hope that everybody remembers when they start voting for this, the things that we've added back that were so important. Like before I was on the board and I sat around and watched them cut the arts program. You know, they cut art, music, and PE. Those were the things that you didn't, and those are the things that we need. We need to keep those in. So I hate to use money for that. We need the building fund. That's
Right.
what it comes down
No,
to.
It would be a tragedy and a travesty to, after what we heard at the beginning of this meeting, to not plan on supporting what we're building.
I would like to add that we need to make sure that people are aware that we have been keeping up with our buildings. We haven't, neglected them. I've had, a couple of calls and concerns about that. We're just getting to the point, if I'm correct, where bigger ticket items are needing to be replaced or repaired. And then we saw last board meeting with the water damage, and we need to fix those issues. I'm in agreement that we do need a permanent improvement levy. We have these buildings, and like you said, they're nice buildings, but we have to make sure we maintain them to keep them this way.
Well, the average life of a chiller system, and I'll bet you I'm pretty close, it's probably 18 to 20 years. Okay, so what it means is we're heading into that span where they have to be replaced. I mean, it has nothing to do with whether we've maintained them. They've been maintained, but there comes a time when it's just time's up. It's more cost effective to replace it than it is to repair it. So.
And I'll add, there's been previous boards that have made decisions to put our building projects together, to close schools, to make us more efficient and proficient. Once upon a time, we were trying to nurse 3 high schools at one time. And showing responsibility, even though we would have loved to have stayed at that level, our dollars and our budget made it so that we needed to come down to 1. So we've got less buildings, but we've got to take good care of the buildings that we do have. And previous boards and this board have always been responsible with the monies that we're using. So I think this community will continue to trust us to do what we've done and be responsible with our dollars.
And as Dr. Rim said, our students deserve a nice building, nice buildings. They deserve a nice place to come every day. They spend a lot of time here to do the wonderful programs that we have now, the arts, the music, the dance. They need a nice place to continue to come.
Go over the 3.
So what millage amounts would you like for us to consider? Are you taking notes on this?
Yeah, do you want me to go over some of the 3 options?
Yeah.
Yes.
So based on what we've looked at between the county auditor's website and our financial forecast, the current bond millage rate would be the equivalent of 4.47 mils. And our current bond millage rate plus the classroom facilities millage rate that is falling off at the end of this calendar year is 4.97. And then to generate closer to that $5 million a year with the capital assets plan that we currently have in the forecast, that would be 6 mils. So I would recommend that we send those millage rates over to the county auditor to have them certify exactly how much revenue we would receive in the district for those.
And getting all 3 of those is just getting the information.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's just gathering the information, and we're not selecting which millage rate we would actually pass for a levy. And then we'd also have to consider, if we're doing 5-year, would consider a 5-year PI levy or continuing.
And you need that in form of a motion?
First, I believe we need a motion first to walk on these items.
So can we have a motion to walk on these resolutions?
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Roll call?
Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mrs. Washington?
Yes.
And I would make a recommendation, because I'm not sure what's covered, but I would make a recommendation that the duration of this levy is for 5 years,
5 years.
as opposed to permanent, or continuing rather.
Does that need a motion?
No, she's gonna, well, she's walking on the.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's walking on the resolution, right?
Yeah, she's gonna walk them on first.
And we'll
to vote
start
on.
first with just the regular approval of donations that we have first on the agenda, and then we'll
Okay.
do the levy. So,
That's you. Yeah, 10.01.
so I have item 10.01 for approval.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call?
Mrs. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Okay, and then we're going to put on a resolution declaring it necessary to levy an additional 4.47 mil tax levy for the purpose of general permanent improvements and requesting the Lorain County Auditor to make certifications.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion?
Do we have to do 3 different
Yeah, we have to
resolutions?
do
Is that
3.
the deal? Okay.
Yeah. Roll call?
Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Washington?
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Okay, and then a resolution declaring it necessary to levy an additional 4.97 mil tax levy for the purpose of general permanent improvements and requesting the Lorain County Auditor to make certifications.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Roll call. I'm sorry.
Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mrs. Washington?
Yes.
Okay, and then a resolution declaring it necessary to levy an additional 6 mil tax levy for the purpose of general permanent improvements and requesting the Lorain County Auditor to make certifications.
So moved.
Support.
And a roll call?
Mrs. Washington?
Yes.
Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
And those are all of my items for tonight.
Reports recommendation of the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like the board to consider for approval items 11.01 to 11.10. And I'm actually going to pull out 11.11 because I had at least 2 board members who could not access the policies through our electronic platform. So I'd like to, again, recommend for approval items 11.01 to 11.10 and 11.12.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
Roll call?
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
I'd like the board to consider for approval items 12.01 to 12.12.
So moved.
Support?
Any discussion? Roll call?
I
Dr.
have a
Ballard.
question.
Oh,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I see we're dissolving the contract with Meta. That would be our A site, right?
That would be our A site, and we're looking to go to Connect. Right now, we're trying to determine exact timeline, but this is the information that our attorney recommended we proceed this angle. Connect can provide all of the same services with more personal contact and on-hand service, as well as be much less expensive moving forward.
Where is Connect located?
Connect is out of the Cleveland, Concord County ESC.
Okay.
Or now it's called the Northeast Ohio ESC.
And there'll be no interruption of services or data or
No,
anything like that,
we're actually
right?
able to do it even for this year, but there's debate on whether or not the contract says we have to give a year's notice or we don't have to give a year's notice.
Okay.
So this will give our general counsel an opportunity to have those conversations.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any new business?
I would like to announce we're having game night tomorrow, sponsored by the Prom to Dawn committee at the high school. Everyone is welcome. There's no cost. Come and have fun.
Thank you.
Oh, 5:30 to 8
Where?
at the high school cafeteria.
Cafeteria. Any committee reports? Second hearing of the public? Our next board meeting will be on June 10th at 5 o'clock here in the board meeting room. And can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support?
Roll call?
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you want this back? Just gotta sign.